Ladies and gents, hello and welcome to a special late night edition of ROG Pulse, at least late night for us here in the US, as we are joined here by Sascha from our headquarters. Sascha, it has been a while, my friend, at least since you've been on the show. We saw you not too long ago, both in Taiwan and in New York for the media event for the Ally. You know, we're getting really close to the Ally launching on shelves, less than a week away, and today you're gonna do what with one?
Yeah, I'll tear it down to bits and pieces.
Tear it apart.
You say stop. You say stop. I'll go as long as you want.
Oh,
I think we can go a reasonable amount.
Reasonable amount. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, the key thing is, like, most people probably just want to swap the SSD. And luckily, that is super easy. That's pretty straightforward. And then everything else, like, you know, you may want to maybe change the joystick, the rumble motor, the trigger pieces, or whatever.
Or just want to see what's inside.
Or if you just want to see what's inside, yeah.
About too, right?
That's all fine too. Yeah.
Just tech porn.
And the cool thing is, like, you just need three things. You just need a prying tool, a tweezer or something similar to a tweezer, and a screwdriver. And yeah, just a single kind of screwdriver. So we did a really good job. Our mechanical engineers did a really good job. There's very few screw types as well. So it's not like a gazillion different types and shapes and everything. So it's pretty straightforward.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so this is me here. I'll flip this over. Yeah, you can see there's 6 screws. Pretty straightforward. And they're all the same length too, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and so I actually have torn down 2 Allies already. And I gotta say, I did. It was.
Oh, you're working on the SSD upgrade thing, right?
Yeah, the SSD upgrade guide publishing tomorrow. All the articles are publishing tomorrow. It's happening.
Nice.
It's finally happening. But I was actually really happy with how easy it was to open. I actually did not need a pry tool to get it open. That captive pop open screw on the bottom worked beautifully.
Yeah.
And
if you like, if you have strong fingernails, that works well too.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that the LTT screwdriver?
Why, yes, it is.
Oh my god! I was like, I recently broke my screwdriver that I use for PC building. I don't know how I managed to break it. I really don't. But it was cheap, I will say. And I was like, all right, do I just go with the upgrade pick? And I was looking at the LTT screwdriver, and now I see you're using it. And I was about to ask you what it is.
Nice.
It's expensive.
Honestly, I'm pretty tempted. That grippy thing in the middle of the shaft.
Oh, I like that.
An upgrade from what I have. It looks nice.
Yeah.
One day I'll probably cave.
It sounds really nice too.
It does.
So I also have I have the charger here. Or this is actually the ROG Phone 6 charger. But
cool.
It helps because for some stuff, you know, you may want to prop up the device so you don't squeeze the joysticks.
You could also use like a small blanket or something.
Yeah, that works too.
So to kind of
you mentioned.
Yeah, there you go.
You
That's the
mentioned
last
this
screw
is
you want to
the
unscrew.
Pop-up screw, right? And this one is a captive screw, so it does not detach from the rear panel. And that's the one that also yeah, you can keep going on that one forever. So I'll try with my
So on both of mine, when I unscrewed it, mine actually created a pretty big gap between the two cases. If you unscrewed enough, and then you just kind of pull it right out. You can use like a guitar pick to go along the edges if you need, or a pry tool or something like that if you need a little bit of extra help and it's not possible.
Or a credit card if you feel really adventurous. All right, here's the back cover. Yeah, I didn't even
notice
need the
dust
tool,
filters on the back intakes.
Yep.
So no dust can get inside the thing. We started doing that on our laptops too, and I was shocked when they did tests at how much dust that actually blocked getting in and how much it affected performance within like a few months of usage. It's
Really?
actually, yeah. It's pretty legit. So, thumbs up on including
And the cool
those
thing is that like it doesn't really affect the temperatures or airflow. It's like half a degree or 1 degree worse, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like a really, really fine mesh. Cool. All right. So yeah, you see here, there's a stick. Oh, can you see it? It looks a bit blurry on my
Could you
view
zoom it in?
here.
Technology.
Nice.
Do not disassemble.
Oh, you can read it. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. On my Discord here, it's a little bit blurry.
It's
no.
trying to focus. Oh God.
No.
Use your hand. Use your hand.
Sony.
Give it your hand.
Sony, what are you doing?
There you go. There you go.
There you go. It wants to see my hands. Okay.
Yeah. It understands what that is.
There's a giant do not disassemble sticker. That's for the battery. So do not disassemble the battery.
It's dangerous.
That's not safe.
Yes. You
In
do
fact,
not want to do that.
The general
if you
recommendation
disassemble the battery, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yes.
Okay?
And once you open the device, it's usually a good idea to unplug the battery.
Right. So that's the first thing.
As soon as you
the
open
first
the
thing you
device.
should do. So disconnect, and you just jank it. That's it. You just yank it.
That's it. The battery's disconnected.
Did I say jank it?
Oh, I disconnected it from
You
the
did
other
say
end.
jank it.
It is pretty janky, but yeah, you just yank it. Yeah, you see the sticker here? So I did a trial yesterday. It was on here before, or on, wait, I think under the cover, under the Mylar. Yeah, it was on this screw right here. This little black round sticker with a warning icon on it, that's, if you remove that, it does not void your warranty, just to be clear.
Good to know.
All right.
Swapping the SSD does not void your warranty, y'all.
Yes. So the SSD is on here. So that's it. If all you want to do is change the SSD, that's literally it. You're already done. Like there's one screw here. If you do want to disassemble it more, you don't have to remove the SSD. So you can just leave it in there. You can do a complete teardown and remove the whole thing, and it'll be just fine. It's still best to unplug the battery just in case, but yeah, you don't really have to. A really neat feature that I just want to point out, with the camera going crazy here, you see this thing here on the right side. So this is a optical sensor, and what it does is as soon as you open the device, it knows that the device is open, and then it powers the system off. So it powers Ally off, and if Ally is running and you disassemble it, it will then shut down the system. This is out of a precaution, just to make sure, if somebody wants to upgrade the SSD and they maybe don't really know that you should turn off the device, or maybe they forgot that the device is just in sleep mode and isn't actually powered off, and they forget to unplug the battery, just out of pure precaution, the system will turn itself off. We have the same on our 2023 laptops. Pretty neat. I think most people know that they should turn off the system, make sure it's powered off, and remove the battery, but if they don't, this is a pretty neat thing. Cool.
So one thing, your cameras are flashing. So one thing I do want to call out, if you do remove the SSD, a lot of people have been asking about how to reinstall Windows. Do you need to clone the drive? Do you need to install Windows fresh from a USB? No. In fact, once you're done replacing that SSD, you hold the volume down button, power your Ally on. It will go straight into the BIOS, and you can just scroll over to our Asus Cloud Recovery option in the BIOS. Start that, and it will freshly image the device for you with all of the drivers and Armory Crate and all of that stuff intact. Really, really nice. Automatically. It's super smooth. I've already done it twice.
Wow. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, because I think that's something that keeps many people from wanting to upgrade the SSD. It's like, the hassle of copying everything over. How do I do it? I plug it all into my PC, or what if I don't have a PC, So yeah,
it's that easy. And we have a guide for upgrading the SSD that will be live tomorrow. I will put the link in the description of this video, so that if you guys want to do it yourself, you can go straight to that guide and see all the necessary information there as well in written form.
Cool.
Question in chat. So upgradable battery. The battery is not held in by glue or anything like that. You'll see Sascha kind of take it out probably next. But you can't, unless someone makes a battery to upgrade it with. Yeah, you can't just yes, you could theoretically upgrade it if a battery existed, but that, as far as I know, that doesn't currently exist. Yeah, I would have to have the same connector. So the battery is not soldered in place; it's just screwed in. But that that would have to exist first, and obviously that's where you start getting into we don't make another battery. That's outside of our purview. Sasha's smiling. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. Go ahead, Sascha. Stop smiling.
Okay.
I don't even want to know what you're thinking about.
There's two FPCB. So there's a long FPCB, flexible PCB wire here, and the way you open it is, you see the dark. There you go. There's a small black thing at the top here. You just put your fingernails on there and pull it up. That's it.
So you pull it toward, it flips up toward you.
Yes. So facing straight up. It's like down like this, and you want to flip it up like this. And then you can take this little, you can use it with tweezers, pull it out. There you go. That's it. And here the same thing. Snap it up and put up. And that's it.
Easy peasy.
And yeah, it's actually a bit slippery on the power adapter. I'll just put it flat down. Next step is removing the battery. And for the battery, right, there's two small screws on the sides. Now, the really neat thing is like all the small batteries are identical. So you don't have to worry about, oh, which battery goes where. It's still better if you do your due diligence and keep track of it. But
you mean which screw?
If you do mix
not
it up,
which battery.
Yeah, if you do mix it up, you're not in big trouble. And I already mixed them up. They're already like these small screws are not where they were originally. Already flipped them all around.
Yeah, so I have a I use my iFixit kit, and the cover of the screwdriver case actually has these little grooves for you to like kind of arrange screws.
Oh, that is nice.
But I've also seen people use just like egg cartons or ice cube trays, things like that. Can help organize your screws when you're tearing something down like this too.
Oh, ice cube tray, I think that's perfect. Yeah.
The Monday through Friday like medicine box.
Yeah,
right? The old people have those things. Yeah.
I was about to say, are you okay, Jake? Is everything all right?
Or maybe it's actually Saturday through Sunday. Maybe they actually have to take pills on the weekend. See, shows how much I know. But
Jake just takes a lot of vitamins.
I do take vitamin D and C pills every day.
All right, and that's it. Now you can take the battery out. And so some people ask, like the shape is a bit odd, right? Like what's with the shape? So the reason we did it this way is this allows us to quick charge it because it's actually 2 battery cells. And also it helps us to balance the weight because the battery is one of the heaviest things in the device. And you really want like a nice weight balance when you're holding it and you're playing games on it, right? You want it to be like really heavy on the left side and you're always leaning down. So yeah, that's the story behind that. And it's not just a wet cell pack, which you see a lot of times in phones and other stuff, where it's basically, you can just puncture it on the outside and that's it. Your battery cell is done. This one actually has a hard cover. So it actually has a hard protective plastic casing around it, which helps protect the battery. Still, do not try to poke it and puncture it. Cool. Put that aside.
So some more questions in chat. Most of these we can't quite answer yet, but any chance you'll work with iFixit to offer parts and instructions and guides to repair the Ally? iFixit is, I imagine iFixit is going to be doing some of those guides with or without us anyway, so you can probably expect that iFixit is going to have some content on the Ally. For what it's worth, I used to work with iFixit. Love them. Awesome people over there. I don't have a status on what our involvement will be with them, but it'd be cool to see. And are we going to offer or sell replacement parts? I don't have any official information on that yet either.
Yes, unfortunately we can't tell you about this officially, but what I can say is that for our laptops, for example, you can buy spare parts and you can buy replacement parts.
Do you just have to contact support if you need a replacement part for laptops? Yeah. So
you can even it depends on the country. It's a little bit different based on country, but you can, in most countries, you can essentially go to our customer support and say, hey, I have this laptop, it's out of warranty, I want to upgrade the memory or the storage, and they'll do it for you. You have to pay for it, but they'll do it for you. So
what if
for people who are not,
what if I messed something up and broke one of the speakers in a laptop? Do we sell parts like that too? That I could then replace myself?
If you're out of warranty, as far as I know, our support will offer you to repair it and replace it. You'll just have to pay for it.
But they won't send me the part. I need to send the laptop in for repair.
I think right now that's the way it works. It could be that
that makes sense.
Maybe some countries we offer this, but I think not.
Okay.
at this moment. But that's something we're considering. So
Cool.
We'll see. Cool.
Are there plans to release a black version? We don't have a black version to announce at this time.
Yeah, we have
and that's
nothing.
the only time I'm going to answer that question on this stream.
Well, we have nothing to announce generally here. We're just taking a look at what's inside what we've already announced.
If we haven't announced it, we can't answer. Like, we can't tell you about it on this stream. That's a general rule. Is if you're asking us about something that hasn't been announced, our answer is.
But the only follow up I will give is we hear you, right? We see those comments everywhere. We hear you loud and clear. And that's all I can say is that it's being heard and that message is going up the chain. And where it goes from there, who knows?
Sorry, Sascha, you can keep disassembling while I'm asking these questions. Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
I just wanted to say quick shout out to D-Brand. So, if you really want it to be black, there are ways of doing that.
I don't think D-Brand is not making skins, though, for the Ally, they said. As far as I know. Sascha knows more than me, so I don't know. Maybe. That's what they've said so far.
No, I'm just very optimistic and hopeful. So helpful, hopefully too. So here are the two fans. If there's something wrong with the fans, like if something falls inside of it, or they make a rattling sound after I don't know a few years,
your kid buries it in the sandbox.
Right?
Things happen.
Right. Yeah, or pokes like needles through the fan filter, dust filter. Here's the speakers. Let me just have a quick look. Battery screws, FPCB, joysticks. Yes. Okay. So the next step would be the fans, right? This is already done. There was a screw that I removed from the battery. That's also holding the fan in place. And then on the outside, there is another screw here for this fan and another screw here for this.
Any hard cases coming? We are not offering an official hard case at this time. Again, nothing that we have announced.
And
what is the official warranty? I believe you can read the official warranty on our website.
Yeah, depends on the country. I think it's 2 years in Europe and 1 year in the US, but it also depends where you buy it. Like some shops offer extra warranty and so on. And now you can take out the fans. So important to note, there is actually tape on here. I removed the tape already. So there's a strip of tape holding the fan in place. So if you do this and you wonder why the fan doesn't come off, piece of tape, just remove that. And now you can lift up the fan.
I am amazed at the cooling on this thing.
Oh, and how quiet it is.
And that little heatsink is just insane at how effectively it cools. The most powerful handheld I've ever seen. And it does it so freaking quietly. Have you actually looked at the fan curves in Armory Crate?
No, I actually haven't.
Like, there's so much more headroom on these fans. You could blast it if you wanted to. I'm sure it would be quite loud. But
nice to keep it quiet.
It's crazy to look at. Even the turbo mode is like.
Really?
So here's the fan cable. It's really thin, but don't worry. You can also just jank it. Just pull it out to the top. Oh, you didn't see that. So you just pull it out to the top and it just comes out. And you see that on one side, you can see the actual cables melted. You cannot see it. There's actually the wires melted into the plug. And on the other side, you just see small pieces of metal, the contacts. That's the one that faces up. So when you put it back together.
Pro tip, take pictures as you take it apart, and then you'll know how to put it back together.
That is a good tip.
Or watch a teardown video in reverse,
I've done both.
Yeah, if somebody's already done it, that's always the best. Right. Next up is the flexible PCB. So there's one here. So these, this is where the joysticks are mounted. You can maybe see that a little bit here. There's the joystick under there, and under here, there's the other joystick up here on the right side. And there's also the XBY buttons and the D-pad. So these are like daughter PCBs, daughter boards. We have all that on in the Rumble motor. So this one, again, you want to flip up this little piece here. And now you can pull out the FPCB cable. And there's a hole in the PCB. It has to go through there later. And on the right side, pull this out.
People in chat are commenting that they really like that this all seems really easy to disassemble. There's no like glue or anything like that.
Yeah, if I can do it, I mean,
Yeah, it is definitely like a little modder's paradise in here. I think we'll see some people do some cool mods to their allies.
Yes.
I hope so.
Can't wait. I can't wait for all the like fully maxed out, crazy ultimate allies. So that's gonna be really fun.
Was that something that we wanted to enable, or is that just a happy accident?
I think it's both. I know that our designers are all in favor of customization, and we do that for our laptops as well. We always want to let people customize it, and enemy matrix is like an extreme version of customization, right? Um, and so yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing is, we want to make it easy to repair for ourselves, for our own customer support. So we're trying to make it easy for our own guys if they ever have to replace something or upgrade something.
True.
And then also
That's
for end
smart.
users. Yeah. Okay. So this one over here is a little bit more tricky because this small FPCB has to go through the hole in the daughter board. And that you might have to help it a little bit so this gets stuck. There you go. And here it is. So there we see the joystick. This is the right joystick. I removed it from the left side, but it's upside down, so it's the right side joystick. This is the rumble motor. Really nice rumble motor.
Oh, okay.
Very big, very powerful, and you can fully adjust it. Like we have a percentage slider, so you can really fine tune it. I'm a big fan of haptic feedback on my phone, for typing on the keyboard, and I fine tune it a lot. There's a really nice app that lets you do that. Hacker's Keyboard, it's called, and this is kind of reminds me of that for allies. You can really fine tune how strong you want it to vibrate, so you get really nice haptics. Some games don't let you do it, right? Here's the joystick, and then interesting. So put it this way. This up here, see this small, very inconspicuous looking piece that I'm pointing at? That's actually a Hall effect sensor. So that works with the trigger. So we do have a Hall effect trigger, which a lot of people don't know. So you have that analog trigger feel. So you can actually also fine-tune that, like at which point does the trigger send a signal or start sending a signal, and how much of a signal, and at which point does it cut off. So you can really fine-tune. If you don't want to press the trigger all the way in to get a signal, you can do that. You can have a full signal even just pressing a little bit. Or if you wanted to like only send a signal if you press it all the way in, you can do that too. Or in analog games, you can fine-tune that.
And the Hall effect sensors configurable right in Armory Crate. Like you don't need
all in Armory Crate
third-party hack software.
Yes. And so this Hall effect sensor here, this is very close to the joystick itself. And that is why adding a Hall effect joystick is something that we did not do, because there would be interference between those two.
Would be or could be?
That's something that a lot of people ask about. There would be. I've actually tried it, and I've seen it. So yeah, there is unfortunately some interference. There may be ways around it, but it's not as straightforward. So in case people ask, why didn't we do that for the joysticks? We did it for the triggers, and then that would.
Yeah. Okay. And so I know there are a lot of questions from people asking, like, oh, can I like put Hall effect joysticks in this? Like, first someone would have to make them, and like and you would have to figure out a way around that interference, and I'm sure that the community will come up with something cool. Hopefully, but that's why we didn't use them out of the gate. We wanted to use the Hall effects on the triggers.
One of the other questions was, can the thumbsticks be removed? Just generally, though, can you replace them with just another stick if you wanted to, if there was another compatible stick?
Yes, yeah, you absolutely can. And where's the daughter board? Here. So you can remove it. There's two screws. There's one screw on this side and one screw on this side, and this is a flexible PCB thing, and it's kind of like a standard thing. So yeah, you can replace these. And I think the ones from the Nintendo Switch, I don't want to say something wrong, but I think they're about the same dimensions, or they would fit, but I'm not 100% sure. Yep.
Okay.
Something for people to experiment with.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, can't wait for the modders, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have the one on the right side, and
it's easy to access those screws. That plastic part just pops right off, right? The black plastic thumb screw just pops right off, and then you have the actual mechanism. It's really easy to access the screws around it.
All right, cool. That's pretty deep into the teardown. The speakers, I don't think are going to fail. Very nice speakers, and you can see like they move around a little bit. They're suspended.
I did
really
notice
nicely
that
as well. Yeah, so there's no vibration, right? Even if you have really loud.
That's so smart.
audio.
Embarrassing story time. I thought the right speaker had failed on my Ally, and I was very upset about it. And so I tore it down to try to fix it. And then I didn't really like find a problem, and so I closed it back up and realized that at some point I had accidentally gone into the Windows settings and just turned the right speaker down all the way.
Yeah,
So
it's cool.
tip
That's
for
like...
anyone out there who's as stupid as me, check your volume settings before you tear down your Ally looking for a broken part.
That's the best.
And that's why some companies, Apple, don't let you configure stuff.
Because they want it to be idiot-proof and
yes, because somebody might just do something and go like, oh, my left speaker's broken.
I mean, that's why Apple is great for people that are not tech savvy, right? Old people, etc. But for the tech nerds that want the full customization, the full power, the modability, that's why we have devices like this. Enrique was asking
the speaker cable. Yep.
Yeah. Enrique was asking, I know we haven't gotten quite there yet, and I don't know if we're going to go all the way to it, but is it possible to replace the screen, and how hard would that be to do?
That is the hardest part to do. It is possible, but that's the hardest part to do. So this is the display connector right here that goes from the motherboard. So again, flip it up, you go, and then you can just gently wiggle it up. There you go. Yeah, that would be the hardest part to do, because the panel is connected to the faceplate, and that's not an easy thing to replace. You can definitely do it. I'm sure, if you have a heat gun and everything, you can remove the cover glass and remove the panel, but that would be tricky.
It just becomes a much more advanced mod. So we had people also asking about, like, are the shells replaceable? And again, you would need someone to make a shell that replaces it. You replacing the back shell would probably be really, really easy if someone manufactured something that would fit.
Relatively, yeah.
But the front is going to be a lot more difficult because of the way that display is attached.
Mm-hmm. And if that happens, let's say you somehow crack the screen or there's something wrong with the screen on your Ally, the best thing would probably be to get the whole front face cover replaced with the screen. So hopefully you'll be able to buy this in the future and get it from our customer support or maybe elsewhere. But that would be the best way to replace the screen. So you could do the whole teardown and do that, but my suggestion would be don't do it. Don't bother.
This seems like now we're talking about broken screens. This seems like a good time to mention the official ROG Ally case, you guys. Jake and I actually both bought these ourselves. The company did not send these to us. I was looking for cases. I looked at a few third-party options, and I literally, this was more what I wanted. Yeah. I know that there are people that want a hard case because they're going to carry it separately or whatever, and I'm sure third parties will create some really great stuff. I wanted something that was as compact as possible, and I like that it's a soft case because then it can slide into my bag and have a little bit of compression to it. I'm not worried about dropping it because I'm putting the case in my backpack, and I just need the Ally. I just need to give some basic protection to the Ally. It's perfect.
And the fact that it's a simple stand too, though, because where I'm going to be using this is when I'm traveling on planes and stuff. Mostly is what I'm thinking this is main uses, and that I can prop it up on my flight and then watch movies on it. Brilliant,
dude!
Brilliant.
I didn't even think about that. That'd be
brilliant.
Amazing.
That's
the screen on this is way better than the screen on the seat in front of you.
Oh gosh!
Well, everything is, right? Everything is. I've yet to be on a flight. I mean, maybe if you fly first class, some amazing airline, you have actually good displays. But even on the latest planes,
yeah. So we got.
So I removed the.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I removed the Wi-Fi cable. So on the right side is black, on the left side is white. And there's a little hook here. So later when you put it back together, remember to put the cables under the hook here.
Okay. And that's the Wi-Fi card at the top?
Yes, this is the Wi-Fi card.
And can that be replaced easily?
I don't think so. No, I think it's soldered on. Yeah,
okay.
That one is soldered on.
So Wi-Fi, it's Wi-Fi 6 though. So I mean, you're in good hands.
Yeah. It's pretty rare that they fail as well or have issues. And again, for the screen, so you definitely want to protect that screen. I put a screen cover on mine, so the film, just like a protective film.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few of those out there already.
even if you don't see any scratches, there are scratches there. Like they're microscopic tiny scratches. And over time, you just get more and more of those tiny scratches. And eventually they all connect. And then all it takes is just a little, pressure and you have a crack in it. So definitely you want to put something on there to protect it. We do have Gorilla Glass on it. So it is pretty durable, but still, you don't
Gorilla
want any
Glass
scratches.
Victus, the latest and greatest from Gorilla Glass with DXC. But yeah, I know Dbrand makes a screen protector, and I know that I've already seen some third-party ones pop up on Amazon. So they're out there.
All right, it's going to be a bunch of screws now for the motherboard. Again, they're all the same small Phillips head screws. There, as you can see, right now there's just 3 types of screws. There's the really long ones for the outside for the chassis, the slightly longer ones for the battery and the heatsink and some other stuff. And then you have the tiny ones that go all over the place and hold everything else together.
We do not sell an official screen protector. No.
But, who knows? Maybe Best Buy will carry a third-party one or something at some point to go with it. I'm sure. I mean, they always do that kind of stuff.
They should just grab as many accessories they can get, put them all on that end cap.
I mean, that'd be great.
We're starting to see Ally displays start to pop up in Best Buys around the U.S. So keep an eye out, guys. They're popping up. If you want to go check it out and hold it in your hands,
you want to go.
If you haven't already pre-ordered,
I know they're probably
if you like to live dangerously.
They're probably starting to get in stores. I mean, we're 5 days from. I'm not saying for sale. I'm saying in the back room, but they're probably starting to arrive now.
I saw in the Discord some people went and tried to get theirs today.
Smart guys.
They saw the boxes. They're just not allowed to give them to you yet. The release date is not here, guys. Just wait. It's so soon.
Just slip them a 20.
Okay.
Don't do that.
I'm done now. This is all the screws. Because of the shoulder buttons here and the motherboard is a little bit wedged in there, so you have to. Oh, come on, Sony, no.
He's talking to his camera, just so, in case anybody's confused.
Do you not talk to your cameras, guys?
Yeah, do you not talk to your cameras, Whitson, Jake? No?
I guess I...
And then you just carefully yank it out a little bit. There's another... I forgot. This is the fingerprint sensor, right? This one.
Ah, yes.
There's the fingerprint sensor up here. Love this feature. This is so cool. Like, you don't have to type in a password or anything, and you can share the device with other people, and it just, locks you in, and all your stuff is yours. You don't have to worry about, I didn't log out of my so-and-so account and everything. Like, nope, somebody else uses the device.
You don't have a keyboard on this. Like, who wants to type in a password or a PIN on this device? Here's the really cool thing about the fingerprint sensor, though. The fingerprint sensor will actually cache your fingerprint. So if you're turning it on, you press it, it will remember your fingerprint as it boots up so that when you get to the login screen, if you put your finger on it right and you cover the whole sensor, you don't then need to rest your finger again to log in. It will just log you straight in. It's a really, really cool feature.
Cool.
Okay.
Here we see from our point of view, because we disassemble it, it's the back side, but this is actually the front side of the motherboard. So this is under the screen. And the screen will be sitting on top of here. So here you have the D-pad, and then here you have the AXPY buttons. And so the membrane, if you want to swap this out, it is held in place with these little rubber legs that go through the PCB. So it's not glued in place or anything. So it's a pretty clever way of holding that in place. And you can swap this out. If in the future, I hope so, a third party will maybe do a different type of rubber membrane. Maybe something that is softer, maybe something that is harder and snappier, or
so people can
different
customize
types.
However they want.
Yeah, so you can customize how it feels, and I don't think it's too different from other gamepads or handhelds. So depending on the dimensions, you may be able to just get a piece from a different kind of device and put it on there. So that's it for the AXPY buttons. And this small piece of rubber just fell off again. So this is the indicator LEDs here at the top. We actually have a small piece of rubber that you can see it. Small piece of rubber that is shielding the light. So it's like a light shield around the LEDs. so you don't get light bleed, and the indicator LED and power LED, don't shine out somewhere on the sides. This one comes off easily. Just need to fiddle it in there. There's like 2 small pins through the PCB.
Can you replace the front buttons? The front buttons do come out, as far as I know, but again, someone would have to make compatible front buttons.
You mean like the plastic keycaps?
Yeah, the ABXY buttons, the face buttons.
Yes. So second, let me make sure this is really done. Yep. Oh, there we go. Yes. So you see them right here. So I can just pull this up, my finger, and there you go.
Cool.
Oh,
There
I
you
want
go.
one. Yeah. I like the color scheme a lot that we went with.
A couple other questions here. Will the Steam Deck compatibility list games work with ROG Ally, or will there be a separate list for ROG Ally? The ROG Ally runs Windows, so it doesn't really need a compatibility list in the same way that the Steam Deck does. The Steam Deck does because it needs to run. It needs either games that are compatible with Linux, or it needs to run them through that translation layer. The Ally doesn't need that. We are going to have lists of games that we recommend that play well on the Ally. Those are actually going to be publishing tomorrow morning, U.S. time. So check those out. I've got like 30 games or something that I've already that we've tested that we recommend. More coming, but again, there's not like a compatibility database because it's a Windows device.
Yeah,
it's just kind of works.
Well, you have an article for free games coming up, but you played a lot more than 3 games.
Yeah, no, 30, he said.
I said 30.
Oh, 30,
okay,
3.
Yeah. There's way more than 30.
I've played a lot more than 3 games in the past 2 months.
Just to kind of give you an example, I stream with the Ally every week, and one of the common games that people request to see is Destiny 2, because Destiny 2 is a game that will not play on the Steam Deck. It runs flawlessly on the Ally because it's just Windows, right? It's 60 plus FPS. I'd say between 50 and 75 FPS is what I get on average. Just playing Destiny 2.
More than I am.
Because I'm better than you at video games.
Okay. Is that how it works?
In either case, it's just a beautiful experience. In fact, if you want to check the stream from last Tuesday, we installed the game, launched the game live with no tinkering, went in, and it was literally the most flawless gaming experience you could ask for. So
Bungie did a really good job. They set all of their graphics settings are basically pretty optimized from the get-go. So that's actually a great example of game that you don't really have to do a lot of tweaking with. But we do have an article for Destiny 2 and a number of other games with our recommended settings for the best visual and best visual performance that is around 60 frames per second.
And I just want to brag, that is a last generation game and is not a current console or platform game, but it's running at high textures, and I think it's low shadows, but most of the settings are at high. So yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, Whitson, just want to say thank you for all those tweaking articles. I'm really looking forward to that. It's so nice to have recommended settings. Yeah, you were just talking earlier.
I'm so tired.
You spent so much time playing so many different games and finding the really nice settings, and I think that's really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And it's crazy, right? Like some games, I don't know what's going on. You can have a 4090 desktop PC, and you launch the game, and it's a fairly recent title, and for some reason it launches at full HD or even under full HD with minimum settings, and it's all blurry.
I had a game once launch at 240p just because it was wigging out on my desktop, and I was just well, now I can't even see the settings to change it back.
Yeah, and then the other way around, right? You can have you play on integrated graphics, and the game is launching at QHD, everything at ultra. And it's come on. Yeah. There should be a much better standard for that. Okay, cool. I'll start putting it back together.
Okay. Keep putting it back together. We got a few more questions that I kind of want to answer. Does the Ally have a microphone? Yes, it does have a microphone built in. Although, also, if you're playing with headphones or whatever, yeah, it has 2 microphones. If you're playing with headphones, you could also just plug in your regular phone earbud headset, and that would work.
Headphone jack. Yeah. There is no camera though, so if you're trying to stream with it, there is no camera.
No camera. Someone was asking about.
I would feel uncomfortable if there's a camera.
I agree.
Pointing
I
at
agree.
me all the time. I'll put a sticker on it. I actually like that there's no.
Yeah. Sorry, someone's
asking. The Discord is rog.gg/join Discord.
Oh, well, I just put a link in the chat, so there you
Wow.
go. Is VRAM an issue on the ROG Ally because it shares VRAM with the system RAM? So actually, a really cool feature that we just added to the Ally. By default, 4 gigs of that 16 gigs is reserved for VRAM, and actually, I have found that is enough for most games that I'm playing, like at 1080p at the settings that I would play on this device. There are a few games where if I want to turn the textures up higher, it might stutter like you do get when you max out the VRAM, or a couple games that like will think that there isn't enough VRAM and they won't launch. What we built a new feature to the Ally where in Armory Crate you can go change the amount of VRAM reserved, or the amount of system RAM reserved as video memory. So if you go and you do that, you can change it to like 8 gigs, and then those games will launch fine. You can use higher textures. I have not had any problems with reserving 8 gigs of VRAM. Like Windows has not had any problems being like, oh no, I only have 8 gigs of system RAM, because unlike a computer, I'm not running anything else on the Ally. Like the only thing I'm running is the game. I don't have a bunch of other apps like Discord and OBS and whatnot, like Teams in the background. So there's not that much else using that system RAM. So I haven't run into any issues with that. But you can kind of customize it to fit the games that you're playing and the settings you want. And if you are running apps, like you can figure that out for yourself. No Pulse XBL jokes. Can you confirm that you're bringing allies for all the people at Xbox Fan Fest LA? So I am going to be at Xbox Fan Fest LA this weekend on Sunday.
Nice.
If you guys are going to be there, or you guys can watch online, I think my Fan Fest starts at like noon. I think it's like noon to 1. You know, I can neither confirm nor deny that we'll be giving away ROG allies.
Just a quick heads up. So the audio jack was not all the way in from me, and that's why the motherboard was a little bit misaligned. So yeah, keep that in mind. Audio jack, just make sure it's like really poking into the frame.
Cool.
Super Shulk asks, Jake, have you tried X Cloud games? I assume you mean Xbox Cloud streaming games. And how does it perform? It performs brilliantly. With Wi-Fi 5, it's like okay. With Wi-Fi 4, it's terrible. With Wi-Fi 6, it's like lag free. So it's a Wi-Fi 6 device. You're gonna want a Wi-Fi 6 router if that's the route you want to go with your Ally. It's really gonna be a much better experience. I'm not saying it's unplayable with Wi-Fi 5, but Wi-Fi 6 does make the difference.
So I'll say this. There's kind of like it's one of those like triangles where like it's like pick 2. So in my house, I'm actually still on Wi-Fi 5 and it works great, but that's specifically because I have multiple nodes across my house, and so whenever I'm streaming, I'm really close to an access point. So if you are only using one router, then yeah, like going something like Wi-Fi 6 or 6E is gonna give you a boost. If you're using Wi-Fi 5, using one of our mesh systems, or just having if you have an old router lying around, maybe you could use our AI mesh feature on our routers, where you take some of our old routers and you can turn them into a mesh system. You know, there are different kind of ways to kind of configure your network that with the different features that we offer that may improve that experience one way or another. But the simplest route would just be to buy the best router and let that do all of the work. But depending on how your house is arranged and things like that, you have a few options.
Yeah, I recently put the GT AXE 16000, which is like the king of all routers. I just put that in my office and it's been great. But our networking team just reached out and said they also want to send me the GT6, which is an ROG mesh system where it's 2 different access points for your router. So I'll be sharing an experience with that with the Ally very soon. I guess I'll be streaming in my living room upstairs on my new comfy couch.
Mesh is the bee's knees,
yeah.
I tell you. Especially if you wire it up with Ethernet. And like I tell people this all the time. Like the mesh works well if you just use the wireless backhaul. Like it's still a huge upgrade over just like one crappy router in a closet, right? If you own your house, you know, if you're an adult who owns a house, just wire the Ethernet, man. Pay someone to come do it, or do a drop yourself. You will never have Wi-Fi issues again in your life if you combine wired Ethernet with a mesh system. It is the biggest game. Everyone I've told to do it, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And then they have like some lame setup where like they put the router in a basket of pillows because they don't want to see it, and they still complain about their Wi-Fi. And I'm like, yeah, just wire it up and use a mesh. And then they finally do it, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I
Just do
know.
it the
I know
first
so many people who are like, oh, you're techie, right? Can you help me with the Wi-Fi? I have really bad signal. Like, oh sure. So where's your access point? It's like, oh, it's in the basement.
Yeah, yeah, it's in the basement in like the
maybe
far
that's why
corner
you have
of the
bad
house.
signal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and the cool thing is like a lot of our routers, like, so this isn't ROG, but like if you want something that doesn't like stand out, our Zen Wi-Fi routers and mesh systems actually look really nice. You could like put those on a shelf somewhere, and they're not gonna like stand out.
Well, unless you're like arachnophobic, maybe.
No, that's the ROG routers. If you're arachnophobic,
that's the Rapture.
But if you think spiders are awesome, then buy the Rapture.
The
Rapture is sick. And I like the features that we offer on like the high-end ROG routers are really nice, and that's like, for me as someone who like likes to tinker with all of those settings, like that's my preferred way to go. But if you just care about the way it looks, the Zen Wi-Fi routers are a nice alternative.
I like the app we have. You know, we have like the smartphone app, so you can actually monitor and configure everything from your phone directly. That's really cool.
So I'm not gonna lie, my router, I don't think my router supports that because my Asus router is like almost 10 years old. Which is like, I know not an advertisement for buying one of our new routers because I don't own one, but at the same time, it's kind of a nice advertisement for our routers in general because it has lasted so freaking long.
This
thing is still trucking like a champion. There are some features on the new routers that I kind of want those, so I'm getting close to like, it might be time.
Yeah, I mean, it's got everything like QoS, it's got boost, it's got it all. But no,
so my old one can't do QoS at the same time as it can't do the speeds that I now get with QoS.
Oh, that's annoying.
So I have to turn QoS to get my full speeds that I pay for because it's such an old router and it has like a CPU that can't do both at the same time. Like it can't handle QoS and so like like I said, I'm getting to the point where I need to upgrade, but 10 years is the longest I've ever kept a router and had it still trucking this well after this long.
So what is the max TDP I can go up to while plugged in? Is it 30 or can you go beyond that?
It is 30.
It is 30
for the SoC. Yeah,
for the yeah.
Yeah, but you know, short term it can go to I think 53. Yeah, but that's
for
just,
10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah,
like it could spike higher, but 30 is the max sustained TDP.
Sustained, yeah.
A lot of like questions about like advanced tinkering with the TDP and the clocks and stuff. Right now, we don't have any built-in tools for that. I am told that there are like third-party tools that are being worked on.
Yes. APU adjust is a nice tool.
Yeah, so like there are third-party things. Like I can't really go into detail on that. I don't really use those, and I also don't like. There's a fine line for us like just telling you to go like use a tool that we as a company haven't vetted, but like there are tools out there. I leave it to you to do your research and play with that. We're still doing updates to Armory Crate. I can't tell you what features will and won't come in the future, but I can tell you that we're still working on stuff. We're not like, we're not done with software features just because we're 4 days from release.
Well, we can say there have been several updates. Since the reviewers all got their units.
A lot.
There have been many updates on Armory Crate. And the best part is I fire up my Ally and it's like, hey, look, a new update's available. And it's like, oh, okay, update. 30 seconds later, it's done, and I'm playing games.
Not just Armory Crate updates, but BIOS updates, driver updates, and those are going to keep coming as well. Tip for you guys, when you get your Ally, obviously like check Armory Crate for updates. You probably will get Windows updates. Don't forget to also check the My Asus app. Because that has some useful updates. Like I got an update to my fingerprint sensor. I think my software was really out of date, so I don't know if this guys might be pre-installed for you guys, but like I got an update to the fingerprint sensor in my Asus, and it made the fingerprint sensor like way faster and more reliable. Like those kinds of updates sometimes come through the My Asus app, and people ask
so fast for me already.
I gotta check that.
People ask, well, like I said, I think I had some really old software on that particular unit, like
probably
way pre-release. But again, like just the point is like be sure to check there, because that sometimes, especially sometimes, that will get driver updates before Windows Update does. So it's a handy place to check. And that's also where some of the useful features are, like battery care, where if you want to extend the lifespan of your battery, you can go into My Asus and turn on the battery care feature, which will only charge it to 80%. So you're not charging it to 100% all the time, and it will extend the lifespan, keep the battery healthy. And there's then a switch you can flip. Like if you're going out of the house and you need maximum battery life, there's a switch you can flip that'll charge it to 100% like that for the next 24 hours or whatever. And then
those battery features are awesome.
Yeah, really, really handy. And we've gotten this question a lot. The Ally does have battery bypass charging. So it's not like when you're plugged in and playing, it's not feeding that electricity through the battery and wearing it down constantly. It's just going straight to the device.
Batter your battery for.
Yeah. We don't do that.
So we should definitely mention about the chargers as well. So if you we have our own ROG Type-C chargers, and we're able to deliver more power. They're more efficient, and they can go for higher currents than normal Type-C PD chargers. And maybe most Type-C PD chargers can also do that, but we don't know. We have no way of knowing. So that's why if you want to get the full absolute best performance, use the bundled ROG 65-watt charger, or use any of our other ROG Type-C chargers. So our Flow laptops come with a 130-watt charger now. They used to come with a 100-watt one. Those are fine too.
The charge cable that comes in the box is really long, which is nice. There's nothing worse than having a short charge cable when you're trying to be plugged in on the couch playing games. So
yeah, I've yet to be in a situation where it wasn't long enough for me.
I agree,
which is nice.
Even in bed. Just to be clear, the difference is really small. So if you use a third-party 65-watt charger or 100-watt charger, the difference is, I think, around 5 watts. So plugged in turbo, you can go to 30 watts, right? And with a third-party, like any random Type-C charger, it's only 25 watts, which is not a big difference.
It'll be the same TDP as if you're unplugged. Yeah. And it'll still charge. Like, it's not going to drain battery while you're plugged in unless you have like a really low wattage charger.
I love seeing these comments about people attacking Armory Crate. Wait till you experience Armory Crate SE. It is wonderful. It is actually nice. It's a whole different experience. It's a phenomenal piece of software where it's been my best friend this whole journey with the Ally. It is actually so good. And I know that's for some people that's something they're like, I don't know. Like every time there's like a third party software like that built onto something else, people get hesitant.
But a lot of times it's really bad.
Yeah, it can be, but it's
some of these other devices, like you can get like some half-assed.
It was honestly one of my biggest fears when I first heard this product was coming out. I was like, I'm worried about the software being good enough, but it's super and honestly, when we first the first builds that we played on, it was pretty unresponsive too. Command Center was really slow, but it's instant now. I click Command Center, it opens up. Toggle my things. Yeah, these were like super pre-production units, right? But it's really, really in an amazing position. Luke Gruber had said they just got charged for their unit. Congrats, man. Hopefully you enjoy your Ally in like 5 days. And then somebody was asking, how many times could you fully charge an Ally with a 20,000 milliamp hour battery? Anyone know?
I don't know.
I think
let me Google a calculator for you.
Let me Google that for you. Milliamp, is that what's the voltage? 20,000. How many watt hours is that? I think it depends on the watt hours, right? So it's 40 watt hours. 20,000 milliamp. I don't know what's the default.
We could be here all night if we try to do that math. I'm really bad at that math. I still haven't like gotten the best handle on like converting the milliamp hours to watt hours.
Yeah,
I know it's like basic math and I'm just dumb, but
well, you have to know the voltage of the battery pack. I think it's standard, but I'm not sure. It should be around 4 volts, I guess. So 20,000 times 4, and then you have the watt hours, I think.
Okay. Smoking Ghost asks can you use third-party USB-C hubs for HDMI and charging? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and I found one that actually lets you use 3 external monitors at the same time and charge the device. Yeah, and like it's really awesome.
Why do you need that?
Huh? What?
Why do you need that?
No,
to use it as your
I don't
only
need it, but it's cool.
Okay.
I've been into this kind of tinkering and stuff since forever. So when I had like a phone way back in the days, and the that was the first time you could have HDMI over the. I think at that point it was still micro USB port, but it supported HDMI. So I built like a thing and America. So I was always into that kind of stuff.
All right.
And
I guess you are tinkering.
I mean, this is really powerful. Like you can generally replace your desktop PC with this. It's crazy.
You could,
dude.
You could.
Retro Game Core just came out with an updated review of the Ally today, and he said that that's actually what he's doing. He actually got, this was so cool. He got one of those little have you seen those like laptop stands that those little stands where you can like close a laptop and stand it up vertically? He got one of those that had 2 slots. He put the XG Mobile in the back slot and the Ally in the front and just hooked them up, and that's like his desktop PC. It looks so slick. It's actually like a really, really cool way.
You need to link this to me because like
I will. I'll send
they look all right like this, but it could be sexier, right?
Dude, no. This is actually really sexy. I hope you put the link. Retro Gamer Core. Sorry, I think I got his name wrong. Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's cool.
Having a hard time with the fan plug here because of the lighting and
the Xbox event in LA. I believe it's like at LA Live, but you need tickets. I think you need to have like gotten tickets a while ago if you want to attend live. But the event will also be streaming. It happens right after the Xbox showcase and the Starfield Direct, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, we see a lot of questions about Ally 2. I mean, obviously, we would love to see a future iteration, but we have nothing to say beyond that.
First one's not.
There we go,
guys.
The right one popped right in. I don't know what's going on.
Well, this is why we don't recommend you take it apart completely. This was really for you.
Yeah, the fans is like, if you don't have to take the fans apart, don't take the fans apart.
You did. You took off the fans for the fans.
Oh.
Yes. Hey.
Heyo. Can you run dual monitor at all? Yeah, Sascha just said he found a dock that can run 3 monitors. So it probably depends on the.
It depends on the USB-C hub
also
you're using.
Also the resolution, the refresh rate. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
so like when I have it plugged into the XG Mobile that has HDMI and DisplayPort out, also has USB-C out. I think I could technically run 3 out of the XG Mobile. If I tried using USB-C, I've never tried that though because I don't need 3.
Okay, guys. Technome in the Discord we get a lot of feature requests for the Ally, and by the way, guys, we see them. Like if you're in Reddit or other Discords talking about features you want, like we're monitoring those spaces.
We're lurking.
So we see them. You don't need to like hunt us down. We see them. But Technome just suggested the coolest feature that I can't believe I didn't think about. He was like, can we have Armory Crate use the RGB on the joysticks to indicate the battery level? So like if it's green if it's above 90%, or like yellow between these percents, it's red if it's getting low. That's an amazing idea, and I'm gonna go hassle our team.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. We need that.
I cannot confirm or deny what will actually come, but I can tell you that sounds amazing. And I'm gonna go ask someone about it as soon as we sign off.
I know.
Stream.
I mean, I know we've done
go.
similar things with thermals, where your color will change based on the thermals.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's a similar process to just
like,
reading a value and then. Yeah.
My Gladius will flash red when it's low on battery, and it lets me adjust the percentage at which it starts flashing red.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's definitely like a history of those kinds of features. But yeah, that'd be cool. For right now, if you do want to see the battery level while you're gaming, the real-time monitor that shows FPS and things like that also shows the battery level, so you can turn that on.
Or you just hit the Armory Crate button, and then it's in the top of the screen, and then you just close it again.
Yeah. You can like do a quick check like that as well.
Yeah, because it's just it's 2 presses, and it appears for a second and you put it away. That's what I usually do.
Yeah, it actually works. That Armory Crate button works really well.
It's very snappy.
It's almost like, I mean, it's kind of similar. You would use it a similar way that you would use like an overlay in a launcher or something. But you just click it, it pops up, click it back, it goes right back into your game.
That being said, though, that wouldn't be a horrible thing that I'm thinking about it to have it included in Command Center, just like a time and battery percent kind of thing on the top of Command Center. We could maybe put it in a request. Do you guys think that would be useful? Because Command Center doesn't take you out of the game completely, right? It's
Yeah. No, I think that would be cool to have it in Command Center if we had room.
There might be at the top. Could be cool. That is a LTT screwdriver. He and Sascha loves it.
Yep.
Yes, I do love it.
Do we have the option to have the RGB react to Aura Sync compatible games? Yes, the RGB on the thumbsticks is Aura Sync. So if you have an Aura Sync compatible game like Ghost Runner or something like that, you can, as long as you turn on Aura Sync and you turn on that feature in Armory Crate, just like on our laptops, the lighting will sync to your game. In fact, that's my favorite feature of that RGB. That's what's so cool about that. It's not just for the RGB flare. You can actually have it sync with your games. All right. Cool beans. Look at this. It's almost back. We don't have to put together the whole thing on stream. I'm having fun, like answering questions, but Sasha looks like he's under a lot of pressure.
I lost one screw. I put it somewhere where it's not supposed to be. This is why you need the ice cube
tray, man.
Yeah. So there's one small screw that I put somewhere where long screw is supposed to go. So for example, for the fan here, that's where I figured out, oh, nope, that's actually... I put a short screw in there on the motherboard, but it actually should have been the long screw, so I removed that, no problem. I need 2 screws to secure the battery properly, but I can only find one small screw. So somewhere I put an additional small screw
says,
somewhere.
Did you swallow it?
He probably did.
Let me check under the fan. I probably put it somewhere under the fan.
This is like a surgeon who like leaves one of his tools inside the patient. Like, Sascha, what have you done?
Yeah, there was another story about a surgeon that every time he was so happy about how good of a job he did, he would sign the patients.
Oh, like on the inside? Like sign their liver?
No, on the skin. Like he would give them a scar in the shape of his signature. And he was like, what? I'm proud of my work. I'm an artist. And the patients were like, no, that's not
This
okay.
can't be real. This can't be a real thing.
No,
I believe it.
It was in the news.
I believe it.
That's okay. That's special.
And I think it's so ironic because, like, look, I did such a good job with the surgery. She's going to have no scar at all. Let me sign this and put, like, a fat scar next to it.
Yeah. Aaron Hines asks, does Armory Crate affect the game
or
only desktop mode? I'm not quite sure what you're asking, Aaron, but yes, you can remap buttons in Armory Crate for your games as well. In fact, you can remap them on a game-by-game basis. So if you're in Armory Crate, you're in your game library. If you select a game and press X, you can remap buttons just for that game. You can customize the trigger sensitivity for that game. You can customize the vibration intensity for that game only. The other cool thing is that inside the game profiles, you can customize what performance mode or operating mode you want that game to launch with on battery or plugged in. So like when I play Dead Cells on battery, I can play that game in the like 9 or 10 watt silent mode. I don't need it to run in turbo. So I can set it to automatically put the Ally in silent mode when I launch Dead Cells and have it automatically use turbo mode when I launch Forza Horizon 5. That's a really, like, all of that stuff is customizable on a game by game basis, which is really cool and really useful.
Yes, like our laptops. So the cool thing is, like, we developed this originally for our laptops way back, or scenario profiles, and our laptops can still do that. So you can do the same thing on our laptops, and not just games, also apps.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, scenario
on
profiles.
our laptops, you can go like, hey, scenario profile. We call it scenario profile instead of game profile. But hey, Netflix, put me in silent mode. I don't need the CPU to turbo like crazy right now.
I actually use silent mode just by default on my laptops.
Yeah.
And then I'll just have it launch into turbo like just for games. Oh yeah, Jake's showing it off. There you go. See?
So this is just for a specific game. If I wanted to change the sticks, change this, you know, say I'm playing a fighter and I want a tighter dead zone, I can do that for that specific fighting game. Or if I want the triggers to be a little bit shorter or, you know, a little bit less depth for a specific shooter, I want it to just bring this down so I can kind of have fatter fingers. You can do that. You can even go in and just mirror that so that, why is that? It's not letting me mirror. Why not?
And I mean, we have good news about this, right? So we got the official confirmation that we are going to bring joystick sensitivity adjustments to Armory Crate in the future. So we don't have a date for it yet, but essentially, just like on our Raikiri Pro, on our Xbox gamepad
controller,
you will have an option to.
Oh yeah, I actually saw that.
More sensitive.
You can adjust the curve of the
That's great.
Right. So if you move the joystick a little bit, it's just going to send a very slow signal, and it's just going to pan slowly. And then at a certain point, it's going to accelerate and go much faster. So you can really fine tune how the joysticks behave so you don't overshoot or undershoot when you move around. Pretty cool. Like, a lot of games let you do that, but being able to do that on the hardware level, you know, directly on the joysticks is even nicer.
Yeah. And, you know, this is just the global settings I'm messing with. You can mess with desktop mode too, which is kind of like more like a mouse cursor that you're controlling with the actual gamepad buttons. But yeah, all that's there. We were talking about lighting features and stuff earlier. We can just kind of take a quick look at that. You've got all these options, you know, for lighting. You've got the different lighting profiles, Aura Sync, Rainbow. I'm using a rainbow one right now, and then there's the Aura Sync stuff, which as you can see, I have it currently connected to the XG Mobile, which has a Claymore 2 and a Gladius 3 mouse plugged into it, so they're all Armory Sync, they're all linked up together. It would connect to any other device, headset, you name it, that you're using. People want to talk about, you know, using their Raikiri with it. If they have a Raikiri, it will work with that, etc.
I'll put it back together. I'll put the back cover on, or is there
Yay.
anything? Yep. All good. And then
Beautiful.
after this, I want to power it on, and I want to see
to prove that it works, that you can put it back together. And wow, that's ballsy, honestly.
Like, honestly, you know,
I just close it up and be like, yeah, it works. See you guys.
Doing that live on camera. Yeah. No, come on. It's funny, like, people who don't know this kind of stuff, like, every time you show somebody how you disassemble a phone to fix something, or you disassemble their laptop to help them fix something, which I've done many times. Every time you do it, people are like, whoa, it's like, you're like a wizard. This is amazing. Wow. But
it's a lot. It's easy.
I always tell them, like, you know, this is nothing. Like, taking it apart is super easy. Like, you could do that. You could definitely do it. Putting it back together, that's the hard part. And putting it back together and it working, that's the really hard part.
So I'm like you guys. I'm a tinkerer, right? I like to like play with stuff, take things apart, put them back together. I like to like mess with different software, like try different stuff just to see what works, right? Like, that's just how I've always been. And I do that, and I often like will break my own computer, and I'll figure out how to fix it, or I'll just have reinstall Windows. Like, that's how you learn, right? Like, that's how you learn these things, is you tinker, and sometimes you break it and you start from scratch. And then sometimes my dad will like be having problems with his computer, and I'll be like, oh, I can fix that for you. That's really easy. He goes, I don't know, man. I've seen how often you break your computer. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I'm doing that on purpose. I'm not like removing basic malware. I can do that.
All right, you're like tweaking it and overclocking it, and then it's unstable. He's like, oh man, your PC is like constantly crashing and unstable. It's like, no, it's different. I'm doing that intentionally.
I'm not gonna go in and like overclock your computer. Only
very important point. The first time you want to power it back on, you have to actually plug it in to Type-C. That's part of the safety mechanism. Like I mentioned, there's an optical sensor in there that detects that you open up the device, and just closing it does not, you know, override that safety protection. You need to plug in the power. So we do that real quick.
I forgot that, and the first time I went to turn it on, I was like, shoot, did I break it? And I knew a bunch of other people were going to feel that way too. So I put that in my article.
That is good to know.
Plug it in to turn it back on, because otherwise you might have a heart attack. These articles will be posted on rog.asus.com. We will also be pinning a lot of the big guides in the Discord, so don't worry, they should be easy to find. Also, if you just start Googling stuff about the ROG Ally after tomorrow, they'll probably start coming up, hopefully.
So the light turned on, the orange light, which is the battery charging light, so that's a good sign. That's cool. If you put it back together and you plug in the Type-C charger and you see no lights at all, there's probably something wrong.
You're in for a bad time.
Yeah, take it apart again and check. Make sure you plugged in the battery. Make sure you plugged in all the cables. Make sure there's no screw inside loose. You know, and then you can try again. Okay. There we go.
Beautiful.
Yay.
And I did not swap that out. You guys, it was in the front. It was in the shot the whole time, right?
I mean, it has that weird sticker on the front.
I could have done the switcheroo. Yeah. It had the same sticker, right?
Yeah. Another question in chat. This can be one of our last ones, and then we'll sign off. I noticed that the micro SD port supports UHS-2, but I couldn't find any SD cards that were UHS-2. Can you recommend any?
Oh.
I have not personally used any. I try not to like recommend specific ones, especially when I haven't used them. But here's the Amazon search for UHS-2 cards. There are plenty.
Yeah.
If you want the maximum like UHS-2 speeds, look for one that's like V60 or even better yet V90. Those are gonna be the fastest, but they are in lower capacities. You can't get like a 1 terabyte one with the max speeds. So you kind of have to balance speed with capacity and decide where you want to lie. I'm honestly just using a UHS-1 card and putting like my indie games on it or like some of the games that I know load faster. And honestly, it's not slow. It works great. So it does like kind of depend on the game. Some games might be slower on a card like that, but a lot of them will be marginally slower. Like we're talking a couple seconds. So you don't have to use a UHS-2 card, especially if you want to really load up on storage. A UHS-1 card is okay too, but there are UHS-2 micro SDs out there.
Yeah, like for the whole micro SD card spec situation is such a mess, right? You have like the UHS 1, 2, then you have the V90 6030, you have like
the
the
class
A
10 and the U3, and there's like so many different
V3. Yeah, it's super confusing.
What I kind of tell people is just like skip all that at this point. Just go and look at the max speeds of the card. Like look for the highest read speeds at the price and capacity you want, and make sure you're buying from a reputable seller. Like not buying from a third-party seller that doesn't have good reviews or whatever, and go for it. You'll be fine. I was like, what's that noise? It's Cortana.
Yeah, it's Cortana. Hello.
Thanks, Cortana.
Yes. Thank you, Cortana.
I thought it was my background
having a huge
at first.
sale on SD cards right now. I actually got Crysis XD says they're having a big sale on Samsung SD cards. I got a SanDisk for like 50% off too. So there are a lot. If you're looking for a micro SD card, go grab one on Amazon right now because there are a lot that are heavily discounted.
Okay, I need a link. Send me a link. Tell me what to buy.
I have a lot of links to send Jake.
When my son was born, I bought one of those cameras that let you like remotely watch the baby and all. And at that time there was a big discount. And I think I got a 2 terabyte card back then, and they were like brand new, and it was a really good price.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well, thank you, Sascha, for doing the teardown today. This was really fun to get to see the insides, and it was great to have you on the show again. It's been a while. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for the questions in chat. And I know there's probably still tons of questions and stuff, and people are getting excited for their allies. But guess what? We're streaming more and more times. There's more chances for you guys to hang out and ask questions. So tomorrow I will be live playing Diablo 4 on the Ally from like 3 to 6 Eastern, 12 to 3 Pacific time. And then on launch day next week, on Tuesday next week, we'll be doing a live stream where Whitson and I are just kind of playing games on the Ally, but also answering your questions. That's our day to hang out.
Getting paid for it.
Yeah. Hang out with you guys.
Living the dream.
But also,
the dream.
Yeah, answering questions for anybody that might be unboxing their Ally or like, should I go to the store? I have this last question before I go to Best Buy to pick up an Ally. That kind of stream where
I just found this feature. What does it do?
Exactly. And then we're actually going to do a tips and tricks stream on Thursday next week. So for anybody that's setting up their Ally and still like feels like they could min-max their experience, we're going to give you, well, we've been using them for like 2 months now. I feel like we're like really confident that we know this thing perfectly, and we've each got our own workflow of how we use the device, and it might be different, which is actually going to be fun for us to discover, because we may use the device a little bit differently from one another, because every user is different.
Use this differently.
Yeah, because it's a gamepad, it's got a touch screen, third-party applications, right? There's a lot of different ways to control it. Even my wife, I have a second unit, I've been letting her tinker around with it. She's discovering things, and I'm like, oh, well, I never would have thought to use it that way, but okay, cool. Yeah, it's cool. But my wife. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today. She does like the Ally. With Sascha,
I think you made Jake lose his train of thought there. That was well done.
No, I think he's being very careful. Like, oh, he knows he has to be careful what he can say live about his wife, or he might get into trouble. You don't want to say something wrong, What I wanted to mention is, so really appreciate. Thank you so much. Like all your feedback, all of you guys, like Whitson said, we're listening to you guys. And for example, a brand new feature we're adding as well is a button in Command Center that is essentially just Alt F4. So, for some games, it's not that easy to leave the game, and you'll be able to have a tile in Command Center. When you want to close the game, you just hit that button, Alt F4. So it's like, you're done with this game, you want to launch a different one, Alt F4, bam, and next game. So
you can also, you should be able to just set up a button combo for that in Armory Crate already. Like, you could set it so that when you hit back button and like B or trigger or something like that, or one of the D-pad that you could map that to Alt F4 as well.
And then,
like you said, like everybody has a different way of using it, right? So some people prefer it this way. And hey, if you guys want it, like we keep hearing this kind of feedback. If a lot of people tell us this, we're gonna do it. We're gonna add it. And I think our software team, like, big kudos to our software team. They've done an amazing job.
Seriously,
I've never seen them pump out so many updates and new features in such a short amount of time. It's insane.
They deserve huge praise.
Every 2 weeks, there's like a complete new wave of everything. Every 2 weeks right now, there's a new BIOS, new firmware, new driver, new Armory Crate SE version. And the amount of Armory Crate SE version is crazy. At some point in time, there was a new version every day with a new feature or a new improvement every single day. It's insane. So please keep doing that. Please continue giving us all your feedback and suggestions. Let us know on Reddit or in our ROG Discord. Like, do let us know. What do you think would be a good feature to add? We'd love to hear from you guys. This is really like, we're in this with you guys for the long run. We want to continue improve Ally more and more and more and build on this more and more. So really excited about it. Can't wait to see like people modding the Ally and having suggestions how to configure and tweak stuff and how to improve settings here and there. Really looking forward to that.
And the games you guys are going to play on it. I'm excited to see. Everyone's going to be playing Diablo 4 on this thing. Let's be real. This is like, I think that's going to be the most popular game on the Ally.
It's the best. It's the best. And if you want to see more of that, tune in tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, as I will be playing Diablo 4, half handheld, half on the PG42 UQ monitor via the XG Mobile, which is glorious. But till next time, Sascha, thank you again for joining us. Whitson, it's been fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow on stream, twitch.tv/ASUSROG. We'll see you there. Peace.